So this is the one of those Thuyas that you build into a hedge. This is from my original one, and so now it's established. I've got it in a good container. It's looking great. It's growing great. It needs to be styled. So yeah, so I've been kind of intimidated by this. It's just about to push out a bunch of new growth, so it's just an okay timing. It's even started, so I'm gonna have to be really delicate with it. But what I want to do is I want to open these up, get these interior fronds, do a little trim back, basically just lay all of these branches out. Yeah, so kind of set the primary structure, and to see if we can get more light in here. And then I have to deal with this. This is so dense, and I mean, it's very beautiful right now as it is. It's just gonna grow way out, and so yeah, it just needs to look more like a bonsai. And I'm gonna try to make it look a little bit bonsai-esque, so a little less natural. Okay, so I've done my first bit of work here. And this is the part where now is where the part where you get to really bring out the creative design. So you look at that tree and you go, okay, well, it's okay looking. What's weird about it? And there's a lot of things, and this is kind of where you got to get the critical mind and go, how can I make this tree better? What am I struggling with? What's and this will guide my process of where to place branchments, or where to move things, or where to do things. Yeah, as far as before I get into that though, as far as the trimming goes, I took off things like this that were up top that I had bent around to hide, to create, to use the branch I had to kind of hide this rougher top, right? You can see it's sort of a big, and then it shoots into these two that there's like a branch coming off there, and there was another branch coming off here with another piece that I'd wrapped around here, and these branches were really small then, so I didn't have them, and so that all actually worked, meaning that I'm not gonna have to hide those pieces of the structure moving forward, and I can use these smaller branches that have grown out since then to create the apex in that way, and I need a lot more branches up there. So that, as far as the wiring and stuff goes too, just the classic sort of mistakes I learn every time, which is do your wiring well. It's like I hear Ryan Neal in the back of my mind, just okay, like wire well, no gaps, same spaces, same angles, all that stuff. And you have stuff like this, right? It's like really long, and then like, what is that? Wrap, gaps, anyways. But also, I'm trying to avoid putting wire across the front, because that will just wreck the tree. Like if I screw that up and there's a big angle, branches less so, but still relevant. They can grow out a little better. So I have some poor wiring things, and at the top it just gets chaotic, where I'm trying to branch two together, and do I get around, and there's some that just have a one back, and then they kind of tweak it. Anyways, lots of the same lessons learned in wiring. Okay, as far as the tree goes, I mean, we have it's like tons of symmetry, same distance between there and there. Even though the branch comes out there, they end up pretty much on the same plane. It's not distinguishable, so that just creates this like flat, and then you have these two other branches, and then you have this just clump, like that's the apex, I guess. And I do like this little branch cutting across, hiding some of the trunk, because that just becomes it's a beautiful trunk, but I also it feels like it's too, I don't know, maybe that's not true, maybe I don't need to break up, but for now I'm going to keep that one. And so what I'm thinking of, and the apex is already naturally going to the left just a bit, which is in part because of those, maybe you can't see it as well on the camera, but you see this line, and it starts to kind of tilt this way. So I don't have the perfect upright. It's going to be like stray with a little directionality. I don't want to make it perfectly balanced, but again, this is a balanced tree. This is more like a formal upright. But what I want to do is, these are too wide for this, no matter what. that angle is too big. So I want to pull this back as much as I can, right? Pull those back. Allow this longer. This is too big of a pad, so there's two branches that come off here. These will have to kind of maybe come down here, and I'm thinking my way through as we go. You know, this is weird looking. This huge branch going back, and maybe that's just I cut that off and it's dead wood, or I just cut it off. It's gonna be just dead wood, and just use this branch. I don't have a lot of spacing out there, but that branch is pretty intense. So either I cover some of it up, and I do like the splitting, so it's not horrible. Maybe able to use. Doesn't look like it. I don't love the idea of covering some of that up. So that's something I'm not sure how to deal with right now. You know, they go up and then they kind of come down and up, but they could go down more and come up. So I have this hole could make a split lower. It looks weird when I make these the primary low branch and then the bigger one is going back. So maybe they all go down and I start to pull that out here, the lower one, and these two sort of come up and above. Yeah, there'll be some problem solving there as I get into it. And then this, right? So this is a problem. You know, I need to make an apex there with a little directionality of it, which means I need to break this up. This is too dense. It's all one section. So I need smaller pads, and plus it's gonna grow out. I'm gonna get another, you know, inch everywhere. If I don't, you know, I won't pinch, I'll prune later. So I have to think about that. But yeah, just, you can see even there, it's just too dense, right? You can look for dense part, like it's too dense there, it's too dense there, it's way too dense there. These are the size branches I want to get to. And I want to have in, out, in, out, in, out as best I can, right? For more movement and more interest in the tree. You know, there's this, that shooting straight up. For that, either I constantly hide because it goes straight up like another trunk. You know, I mean, and maybe I just cut that off at some point, so it just looks like this branch is kind of coming up. Again, I gotta get a lot more branching out. So those two big cuts I don't think are gonna happen. I'm just gonna have to hide those flaws for now, and maybe that's not the best choice, but I'm not sure. And then what else do I think I need to do here to this tree to make it a little better? Yeah, you know, you wonder, like, could I bring it back to like there, to like these sets of branches, and just like trim it right back and have it survive? I don't know. And these are the lower branches that are gonna be, you know, the tree is gonna put less energy towards, especially as it has a strong apex. Yeah, so, well, we'll see where I get to. Alright, so what's nice when you stand back is you can see a bunch of the trunk. It ends abruptly. It's really thick, and then it just ends, meaning I can probably go a little bit taller. Depends on how I kind of want to design the tree when I say that. You know, one of the things I realized is that like the apex is too small, right? And so it makes these look even bigger. So I pulled these back. You can see I pulled this side in, just like I said, and lengthened this. I pulled this branch down to break up the pads, thinned it out in here. This was all a homogeneous mess. It's slightly got more holes and more spaces, and the pads are a little laid out better. So it's actually like way better in my feel. And you know, you kind of get in there and you go, should I wire all these? Should I wire every one of these guys out, or can I kind of lay them out? And again, I realize this is a tree, it's not juniper. I'm not gonna control the growth as much as I would with a juniper. It's gonna be a little bit more droopy, a little bit more natural and wild. So, you know, and gosh, I can't wire these fronds. I would destroy these things. My wiring skills are too green, right? So I have to wait till it all turns brown and then try to wire it. But again, this is just not the tree for that. You know, I've kind of curled around, I think you guys seen, sort of curled around the apex there to make it nice, but mostly it's that breaking up of all of those bigger pads, giving a little bit of direction. You know, the top, it's a little like it's kind of a formal upright with a little bit to the left, Yeah, with just this longer branch, but very subtle. Yeah, and I didn't, I couldn't hide this, and I don't know what to do with this, so I think at some point this will probably just go, because that's just a weird up, down, like it comes off the tree in a strange way compared to the other branches. And it's gonna fill out, right? Like it's gonna grow, so it'll get even denser. Yeah. I don't know if that branch actually, this one seems a bit weird where it's placed. Not sure what's going on there, but maybe I wanted it, in out. That'd be nicer out there, or this in. Yeah. Anyways, really happy. Yeah, and I got the guy wire, some more guy wires on there, and these are on the wires down here. They're not tied to roots. And then I'm attaching these to dead wood. And you can see I didn't put any wire on the trunk because I just don't want to destroy that trunk in any way.